Join us, Alex
and Colleen,
self-proclaimed fake it till you make it experts, as we navigate the highs and lows of being a woman and how the pressure and overwhelm of trying to do it all often leads to feeling like an imposter in our own lives. On today's episode, we're chatting with the Alben Lane power duo, Becca and Jess, about their journey as best friends turned business owners and how they push past imposter syndrome as young entrepreneurs.
hello, Alex.
Hello, Colleen.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I have a question for you, as always.
Okay.
Perfume. Do you wear perfume?
I do.
Tell me about it.
I'm obsessed with Urban Outfitters perfume.
Really?
Yes, I love it. I never wore perfume for years. I never wore makeup for years either. And now I'm like, can't leave the house without either. But there's one, it's honey, I don't know, something French from Urban Outfitters that I go through like a bottle a month.
Like a bottle a month?
But it's a small bottle.
Okay.
And it's relatively cheap. It's like $40. Which is, if you're going to go through a lot of perfume,
yeah, then it may as well
be affordable.
Be
but maybe it's just
one.
cheap and doesn't stay on me, which is why I go through so much. I don't know.
I haven't for years. I remember as a teenager, it was like anything Calvin Klein.
Oh, yeah. What was it? Exclamation?
Exclamation. And there was all kinds of perfumes back then. And I remember I have quite a collection. And then I started wearing, funny enough, Seven Virtues stuff when it first began. And then ironically, she now has her atelier here in Halifax, which is just so beautiful. Barb Stegman's
yeah,
atelier.
I met her a couple times.
Yeah, I've met her a few times as well. Quite a fascinating entrepreneur. Speaking of scents, we have with us...
Nice
from Alben Lane, two best friends, Bex and Jess, who truly are wonderful and make sense. And they make candles. They make all, seriously, tell us a little bit about you guys. Welcome.
Oh, hi.
Welcome to our podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your journey, what you're doing, how you started.
You're so good at this.
Okay. So we've been friends since we were actual babies. Like, there's a photo of, she is older than me, so there's a photo of her. I'm obviously much larger than she is, and so even as a newborn, there's a photo of her holding me, and she's like a freaked out toddler, and I'm just like the size of her. But our families are best friends as well, so we've kind of just grown up together. And a couple of years ago, November of 2020, we texted each other kind of as a joke. About being like, I want to start a candle company. And she was like, me too. And that night we had, a color scheme, a logo. We got hyper fixated on it, I think. And then here we are.
Which one of you got hyper fixated? Both of you?
Well, the thing is, I'd been thinking about this for a long time. We love candles. We'd always be going to Home Sense and Winners and all kinds of stores, always getting candles for each other, getting candles for ourselves. So we knew that we loved them. I had been looking into starting my own business for a little while because I was really unhappy in my career. I was just working too much, and I was like, let me just work for myself, which ended up now I work more. So
yeah, it's
that's
always the
fun.
way.
But when she texted that, I was already thinking about doing something like that. But because she works in social media and with brands and branding and all this stuff, she is so good at setting things up, logos, labels, designing things. I think we had a whole Instagram mock-up too with Pinterest images and all this stuff. So she just went crazy. I want to say within an hour of me saying, let's do it, she was sending me all these things, and I was like, oh, okay, she's really serious.
Does this sound familiar?
She's looking at me.
Alex.
This is sort of the same thing that happened with our podcast.
Well, who was the person?
Alex. And funny enough, we both do graphic design, we both do social media, but we had this conversation one day saying, we should start a podcast, and then what would we call it? And we were bouncing back and forth. And then we were talking a lot about how we both deal with imposter syndrome. Anyway, Alex calls the next day. I've got it. I know the name. We met for coffee, and she's like, here's the name. Here's. Well,
you created the
I ended
logo.
up making the logo, but here's the name. Here's the concept. And I was looking at her, and it was all laid out. She had all their notes. It was
full business pitch,
thing,
ready
full
to go.
Business, and then we were like
ready to go to Shark Tank.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Shark Tank, hello dragons.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
So very similar. That's funny.
I love that.
Kind of similar timelines too. I think we were the beginning of 2021, but
Yeah.
Yeah, very similar. No, that's pretty close. I don't even know when we started. People ask questions, and I always let her take them because I don't remember anything that even happened yesterday.
That was all November of 2020, but I don't think we launched anything until April of 2021. So it took a little bit.
Why candles? I know you said you love scents and those sorts of things. Did you have any background in candle making, or you're just like, we're just going to do this?
Honestly, we just like candles. I feel bad. People ask this all the time, and I wish I had a deeper meaning. Came out the womb like immediately. I'm trying to think.
I lit up the world.
I wish there was some sort of better origin story other than we just like candles. But
we loved them.
That's at the end of the day, that's really what it is.
I
think we like each other too.
Yeah.
Well,
so
yeah.
I would say.
We would end up
helps.
like burning like we would go to Winners and buy 5, and then they'd be gone the next week. And it was like, I think part of it was just like, how can we just? We thought when we started, we're like, if the worst case scenario, nobody likes our candles, we know how to make them.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
We can burn them and make them ourselves
It's
instead
just
of.
a nice self-care activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was a bigger learning curve? Learning how to make candles or the business aspect of it?
Look at the face
I
on
think
back.
I think both, I
both.
think we both kind of took on our own roles. So for me, I do most of the production, and she does most of the business side of things. She has a business degree, so that probably went a little bit of a ways for the learning curve, but. I think there was a steep learning curve for both sides of it, and we were kind of both working together, but also separately on those two separate aspects of it, for sure.
Yeah, I think at the beginning, before it got into like a real business, when we were just kind of figuring stuff out, both of us were really in the trenches, like learning how to make candles and doing all of this. And then as it kind of progressed over the years, it's just become like a natural separation of who does what. And I have not made a candle in
Possibly years.
Possibly years.
Really?
Yeah, possibly years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except like a fun one for myself or a family friend, but I don't think I've poured a batch of candles in years.
So you've each found your role in the business and
Yeah.
what's working for you.
And with that, too, I don't know how anyone runs a business by themselves.
Oh, God, no.
Right.
Like, I just couldn't do it without her.
No, I can do it without you.
There's a big love fest.
Yeah, I think that's really awesome that you were able to kind of find natural roles that really support your talents. Where did imposter syndrome kind of set in any of those journeys for either of you?
I think we experience it all the time and in a lot of different ways. Like, I had a hard time actually when I saw the email of what type of imposter I identify as, or we both identify as. And I definitely saw myself in multiple different ones, and I feel it in different moments too. Like, just off the top of my head, I feel it a lot when we are speaking to other people, and I think people don't expect us to be doing well, which makes me feel weird about it sometimes. So sometimes I get it from other people. Sometimes I get it from our own successes. Like, if something good happens or if we get an award or something, I'm like,
where did this come from? Yeah.
like we're just a little guy.
Yeah.
Or like when we get reached out to by media outlets or anything like that, if we're getting covered in or featured in a magazine or a TV segment or something like that, we're always surprised, I think, that people would even think of us that way. And even, oh my gosh, when people recognize us, that is really crazy. We get recognized outside, like on the street sometimes, as the Alben Lane girls, and that's very weird and strange.
I just recognized you coming in here today.
No, the last time it happened for me, I was at a beer garden, and someone was like, "Oh, like you're one of the Alben Lane girls." I was like, "This is not a good place for you to recognize me."
Right?
Like that.
Half in the bag.
I mean, we get it too. It's a very
nice, yeah.
strange feeling. So I completely know what you're saying with that. It's and we do the same. I mean, our categories are, we call it our pizza. Like, we're bits of a whole bunch of these categories. Is there a category you particularly fall into, like more than the others, between what perfectionist, expert, natural genius, superhuman, and soloist?
I think for me, perfectionist and superhuman are unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a tough.
They're common, yeah.
Yeah, it's
especially
quite
in
common.
entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and I think it's so hard because you're trying to, outwardly be that, like, especially with you, I guess when you're presenting the business too, and you're taking photos and you're taking it, and it has to look
Yeah.
right. You've got a vision. It's got to look right.
Yeah, and I think the hardest part of it is that we've attached ourselves to the business in every aspect. So like right on the front page, it's like every cent is inspired by the two of us and our lives, which means we are attached to Alben Lane. And so when people think of the company, they think of us, which is awesome because I like having a very personal presenting business, but then it means that every action we take, we're worried that it's going to impact on the business, or it's so scary now. I think it's pros and cons, and I think it's scary to be so attached to it, you know?
Yeah, I could see that for sure. It really humanizes the brand and makes it something that you want to connect with. Yeah. But at the same time, it's very outward facing.
Yeah.
I would also say, you didn't say this, but I think we both kind of experience a little bit of the Soloist, but together. Like we are really at the point now where we need to start getting help. And it's been very hard for us to ask for help and very, very difficult. Yeah.
I know your family helps you. You pull them in a fair bit, when things get busy.
My mom came and picked up a carload of candles this morning from us to label. But even then, like we started doing that last year, and we had like this.
I had a whole family meeting.
Little
I'm
family
like, this
meeting.
is how you do everything perfectly. And if it's not perfect, I will die.
And it was like us like supervising them. And I don't think we realized that. I think in our personal lives, you're definitely less of a control freak than I am. But when it comes to the business, I think it's such a great point that I do think like we went a little too hard on the control with that. I think we were like looking over their shoulders being like, well, that label's a little crooked, so you might want to redo that. Or like make sure, like it was just so, it's like we can't let go of anything.
But I think, as you said, since you're so closely tied to it, you want to make sure that the output is represents you properly.
Right.
So I really do understand that, but it does become very difficult to scale or outsource at that point.
It's
I've
like we're
definitely
trusting our
gone through that
family.
myself too.
Right? It's like you're trusting your family, but then it's like if we need to hire someone, how do we?
Yeah, it's really challenging.
Looking to relax and rejuvenate? Treat yourself at Bello Day Spa. Located in the heart of Bedford West, from luxurious facials and brow services to soothing massages, waxing, and perfect manis, pedis, their team has you covered. Bello Day Spa isn't just a place for pampering. Their friendly staff will help you find the perfect skincare products from their wide selection of premium lines. Ready to refresh your routine? Book your appointment today and discover why Bello Day Spa is your neighborhood go-to spot for relaxation and self-care. Bello Day Spa, your local relaxation retreat. Yeah, it would be. Have you hired people? Have you started?
We are,
Thank
but
you.
we have a lot of conversations about it lately, and that also feels weird because I'm like, how are we in a position where we're going to be able to hire someone? It just doesn't feel like we have a business. We're going to hire someone.
Yeah, the imposter part that sneaks into it is really crazy as an entrepreneur. When you said about winning an award, for example, it is wild when you win an award because yes, it's great. I won an award, but then you're like, okay, but now do I now have to win more awards? Now they're expecting me to be what that award says or something. Like it's a very uncomfortable feeling to win awards.
It really is. I'm so grateful, obviously. But I think
absolutely.
like last year we were under like in the Atlantic Business Magazine and the 30 under 30 awards.
Yeah.
And obviously you can't apply for that twice, and we wouldn't anyway. But now it's like, oh gosh, we're not going to have that this year. Are people going to think we're not good anymore? Are they not going to like us anymore because we're not being able to post these awards? Like it's just so, obviously we're so grateful, and it's incredible to look back and have that. But then it's like, what if we don't do anything else, and then people just think we've like fallen off or that we're not good anymore?
Yeah, that's so true. It kind of sets a precedent that you have to continuously be winning things or being in the public
we feel
eye.
like we always have to be doing like this all
Yeah,
the time,
and
but we're competing with ourselves.
articles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something you said earlier, I wanted to ask you about. You said that people are surprised that you're doing well.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think it has to do with being a woman for sure. I think it has to do with being young. I think it has to do with our personalities too, to a certain extent. Like I think we're very friendly, and I think we're, I wouldn't say unprofessional, but maybe not what you might think of when you think of a CEO or a business. That's a weird word to say, but I mean, we are.
I have
at
it
the
in
end of
my
the day.
title too, and still feel weird about it.
Yeah, I just think if you would picture that, you wouldn't picture us. And I think it's something that we get a lot, especially when we're at events and markets and things like that. People come up to us and talk to us and ask us questions about our business. And I would say it is predominantly older men too that sometimes get like very surprised when they'll ask, like, they're like, oh, have you ever tried being in a store? And we're like, yeah, we're actually in like 30 to 40 stores around the country, and we're looking at, and they're like, what? or they'll ask, I think often they'll ask us a question and it's almost in a condescending way. And then when we respond, they get very like taken aback by what we have to say, whether it's even asking about stores or asking about, I hate when people say like, are you doing well? Like, are you,
We get that
are
a
you,
lot
like,
at
can
markets.
can you eat like today? Like, do I need to buy this? How much do I need to buy this candle? And it's, I find it very, we get very, like, I would say almost every market we get at least one or two people that are very condescending, and it's weird too, because I'm like, I would never go up to someone and ask some of the things that they ask, but it makes me feel like even more of an, I'm like, do I not look like we're doing well? Do we not look like we're doing well?
Yeah.
Like,
It puts you on
Like,
defense
what-
a little bit, but then
Yeah.
it's also like, it's like, oh, you shouldn't be saying that to people. But then it's also like, but why are they saying that? What are we giving
yeah, I'm like,
them?
what
that's
is the
making
vibe
them
that I'm
see
giving that's making us look like we're just...
I don't think you're giving them a vibe.
No, I would guess it's just old messaging.
Yeah.
You know, that it's, you know, you have to put in the hours and you have to be like, you know, in business for 25 years before you see a profit kind of thing.
And you have to have a penis.
Yeah,
That
that's
is-
100%
yeah.
Right?
part of it.
Yeah.
It's mostly from men
usually a prerequisite.
Yeah.
for success, for sure.
I was curious about how people reacted to your age. You're both young, but you also look younger than you are.
I'll take that.
Yeah, right? And I was wondering, and you know, we did a presentation once, and there was a young girl in the room that put her hand up, and after we were done, and she said, "How, as a young person, do I put myself out there when I know I've got other people that think they know better than me? Like, I've got great ideas, I know what I'm doing, but other people at the boardroom table might think that I don't have a big enough voice or haven't
had the experience.
How does, you know, age is going to be a big thing for you guys.
I would say that's actually maybe the biggest thing that contributes to our imposter syndrome. Is
Yeah, I think it works in our favor, but then that does the opposite again. Like, I think people come up to us at markets and they're like, oh, like, look at these two young girls. Because we do look a little younger than we are. And I think people will be like, oh yeah, like, how are you doing, girls? Like, I'll buy a candle off these young girls. And I think that works in our favor. But then it's also like, are you supporting us just because you think we're young or whatever age you think we are? Do you think, and then it's like, as the clock goes up, like all these articles, and like when we got into 30 under 30, it's like, okay, those they print your age. And so that's like, okay, well, that's not my age anymore. Now I'm getting older. Are people not going to think that we're good anymore because we're getting older? And like, as a woman, that's a whole thing anyway. But it's I don't know. I think it's worked in our advantage in the past, but I think it's getting harder, at least in like how I feel about it. It's like now we're that age, like the 30 under 30 thing. Now we're immortalized at those ages that we got that award.
Yeah. But then you get the under 40 award, and then you get the under 50 award.
I mean, hopefully.
Really?
Maybe
will.
one day.
do those exist?
Yeah,
Where can we apply?
They do. Yeah, they do.
We've surpassed all of them. But,
No way.
The under 70 award coming to Colleen. I actually started telling people recently, there's so much, you know, we run into age stuff all the time as we get older. We're like, oh, you know, we need to.
Oh yeah, particularly working in social media.
In social media, right?
We're dinosaurs.
We are. And so I said, I'm going to, instead of spend a lot of money on facial products and stuff to make myself younger, I'm just going to start telling people I'm 65. Right?
They'll be like, you look
And they're
great.
going,
Wait,
fantastic
drop
for
your
65.
skincare routine
I'm
right
like,
now. We
thank
need to
you,
know, what
right?
are you using?
Right? I'm like, I'm not telling you, it's my
That's
secret.
funny.
But social media is so scary with that too. Like, before Alben Lane, I worked in a lot of different companies as a social media manager, a digital marketing manager, whatever. And by the time I left that, I think I was 24, which now looking back on, I was like, you were so young. But even at that point, I was looking at like new social media trends, and like that's when TikTok was really becoming a thing for business. And I was looking at all these social media managers right out of university or in university that are doing so much better because it's the common misconception that the younger you are, the more you know about social media. And then it's like, am I too old now?
Oh,
At
listen.
24.
This is the story that I tell myself all the time. But it comes down to strategy too. And I think that's the missing piece for a lot of people, that you can understand how to do things, but if you don't understand the strategy behind who you're trying to reach, which clearly you do in terms of your social media, because I have consumed a lot of it and because it's really, really well done. And what I love about it is it's so personal, but it's also showing really the culture of your business a lot. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, your approach to social media and kind of how you've incorporated your personalities into it? Because it's a lot of behind the scenes kind of like vlog style stuff, which I think is really relatable for people and interesting.
You do the social media.
Oh, thank you.
I don't even have
I'll
the.
tell you how
I'm
to pour a
actually. I
candle,
don't even
Jess
have
says.
the. I don't even have the password. I'm locked out of that thing. Yeah.
She's
I have
been
to.
banned.
I have to ask for approval before I post anything. I actually don't.
That's how I feel about
post
the
anything.
Imposter Sisters social too.
Yeah, I'd get us canceled immediately. They would just not get us canceled, but I would post something ugly. That's the main issue.
Yeah, we have to use a certain font. It has to be
Yeah,
aligned.
I've posted a story with the wrong font once, and so
She heard
I've
from
lost.
me about
I've
that.
lost privileges now.
I mean, there's brand guidelines, brand standards.
That's
Yeah,
what-
I thought it was a
thank
nice
you.
font. So
No, trust me.
Don't want to confuse the consumer.
Yeah, who's posting?
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, who?
yeah, someone would have
it was
clocked that
Papa
immediately.
Ruth's
Becca's been kidnapped.
God forbid. I don't know. I feel like when I just keeping up with being a social media manager is a full-time job in and of itself. And I think on top of everything else, what the easiest thing for us to do, two things. One of it was strategy, where it was, if our brand is personal, our social media has to be personal. But then it's also what people ended up wanting to see, and it was easiest for us to do it. Like a day in the life, obviously it is challenging to film because it's like you pick a busy day to do it, and then on top of everything, you have to film a day in the life and edit it. So that is hard. But I don't know, I feel like it's easier because it's like, well, this is just what I do in a day. So here, here's me pouring candles, although that's not true. I would never do that. But here's me, labeling some stuff, or here's me answering emails. And like, to me, it sounds really mundane. But then when I think about the content I like to watch, it's other people's day in the lives. I'm like, what do you get up to? Because I think I'm just too nosy. But I'm happy that it's what people resonate with, because it's what we want to post, because there's only so many ways you can take a photo of a candle. And I think we've exhausted that.
Well,
The photos you do take are great, though.
they're beautiful. And really, each season, though, you're able to show the new scents, the new product, the new, because I love how you keep you're selling a lot of product, but you keep your product base fairly low. There's so many scents, so many, you're not going nuts. You're not out there saying, we're going to have 52 flavors for,
No, I would die.
Don't imagine.
Right.
It's too much.
It's too much.
Yeah.
And in terms of rotating out scents, is that from a perspective to keep things new and fresh, but is it also because you want to try different things and you kind of get tired of dealing with the same scents all the time?
It's definitely a combination of both. I think we find too, just from a business perspective, people like to see new things. So that I would say, honestly, first and foremost, it's got to be that. But we also find we get tired of scents, especially the seasonal ones. We've been very lucky. The ones we picked for our core collection, we do still love them. And I'm not tired of them, and I don't think I'll get tired of them. If I do get tired of them, we will switch them out. But we find the seasonal ones, because they are more, they are more seasonal. That's a silly thing to say, but they are. And we do get tired of them more. And we also, I think it's a good opportunity to try something that we might not usually lean towards and see how it goes from a business perspective. And also maybe we'll like something more than we thought we would. So I think it's fun. It keeps things fresh. It keeps things new. And people always like to see new things. And people love a limited edition item.
Yeah.
So.
People love a
Yeah.
limited edition. It is
People love
It's
true.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything that you've tried that you've been like, that was a royal failure, we're never doing that again? Or
Yeah. Lots of things that we've tried that have been failures, or maybe not even failures from it. I think there's multiple ways it can fail. Like if I hate it, I consider it a failure because if it does well, I'm annoyed. Like I now have to make that and I don't even like it. So I would say one we did in the last fall was Oak and Tobacco, which was very well loved. We get DMs about it probably every single day. People asking us to bring it back or make it permanent or whatever. that scent, I just cannot do it anymore.
it.
And I did love it when we first made it, but I got sick of it really quickly.
Yeah,
and
same.
it's sometimes I don't get sick of scents at all, and sometimes it happens quicker than others. And that one just gets me. Like I
hate
don't
it.
like it, and it's did so well. Like probably one of our most popular fall scents. And so that was a fail for me because I don't like it. But it was not a fail at all from a business standpoint. And then we'll have the opposite situation sometimes. Like one of our first spring collections, we did one called Clothesline, which smells like it smells like kind of like Downy Unstoppables. It's like a little fresh laundry scent.
Yeah.
It's very strong. If you light it, your whole house is going to smell like laundry. I love that. I would love to have that in our main collection. Nobody wanted that candle for reasons I can't comprehend. There were some people that liked it, but by and large, no one liked that candle except me and you.
I loved it.
We
And
both
my mom.
loved it. I still have a couple of them that I'm like savoring, but it did not do well.
No.
And I would also say sweet and bakery type scents usually do well, but we don't like them as much. So we'll do them every once in a while because people want them, but we don't really like them. And then sometimes we'll do a scent for us that we really like that we just know is not going to do well. So, but we like it, so we kind of try to like.
So they become the limited editions a little bit.
Yeah. Yep.
How do you figure it out based on your audience? How do you is it trial and error? Is it guesswork? Is it just
What's the scent development process?
Well, we only work with Canadian suppliers, so we're already pretty limited to what fragrance oils we can bring in, what we can find. We have to make sure that they're paraben and phthalate free, so they're as clean as possible. So we're working with a pretty limited selection of probably, I'd say, less than like 1,000 possible single options. So we get a bunch of oils in whenever we're ordering from one of our suppliers. They have like little samples. So we'll be like, yeah, we'll order this one. We'll order things that we think we're going to love. We'll order things that we think we're going to hate just to see if we do hate it. And then we have a little scent sniffing party, just the two of us, where we'll sit down and open them. And then we have a little database that's like, ew, never going to use that. That smells disgusting. Or this is great. This is awesome. And then we'll maybe mix a couple and then just pour some testers and see if they work. And a lot of the times the scents don't work. And then it's back to square one again. But it's honestly just a complete trial and error and just seeing if anything we like is actually gonna stick.
And we do ask people. Sometimes we'll get friends and family in. If we've got testers going, we'll get other people's opinions, and that's helpful. But I will say scents are so personal. So we are very often wrong on what we think is going to be the most popular or the least popular. And even like store to store, market to market, there'll be a most popular scent at a certain store and it'll be the least popular scent at another store. So it's very weird. And sometimes we think it is like demographic, but then sometimes it's really surprising. Scents are so personal. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so true.
I think my favorite's still bubbly.
I have the room spray of that.
Oh, do you?
I
have the
prefer it as a room
reeds.
spray.
Yeah, I really like the
Yeah.
room spray a lot.
Makes your house smell
Yeah.
clean.
It does,
Yeah.
which mine needs.
I should
Same.
get the room spray. I have the candle, but I also have the reeds. I
Well,
don't know if you
we
still
have
do
pets,
the reeds.
so the
Yeah.
room
Yeah.
spray is really lovely for like the disgusting couch,
Me, literally me.
where the
Make it smell clean.
how many pets do you have?
2, but they're both gross. A dog and a cat, and they're kind of smelly. Gross. We have one couch where the dog like basically lives, and no one really sits on it except for like I have one relative that kind of comes over and sits on it a lot when she visits or when we have family dinner. So I have to like really make sure it's clean because otherwise I would never sit in it. It's disgusting. Anyway, I digress.
Dog scents. I do like though. I'm getting that.
I wanted to ask about the wholesale,
Yeah.
the wholesale side, because that's a huge different revenue stream. So was that always on the plan, and how quickly did that come after you started rolling?
We had a couple wholesale orders before we launched, but it was really a select few. It was maybe 2 stores in the area, and we thought kind of, oh, we can build a brand up online, and if stores want to carry us from that, great, that's really exciting, but let's focus on our website and let's focus on growing that. It has turned out to be kind of the opposite. Wholesale definitely makes much more of a chunk of our like time and
Volume of product.
volume of product for sure. So I don't think we ever anticipated that, because I just think we went into it thinking like, it was wholesale, you sell them for so much less, but you sell more. And I was like, we knew nothing about wholesaling anything when we started. So we just were like, how do people make money off of wholesale? And it's just turned out to be the complete opposite. So it's a lot of work to maintain a lot of wholesale clients. But it's you choose your work, right? It's either wholesale clients or trying to grow your following on TikTok, which is.
One of the ways to combat imposter syndrome is to actually listen to how awesome the people in your life think you are. If you're looking for the perfect gift for a loved one, where you can tell them all of the things that make them special, visit my Drawbridge Creative Etsy shop and purchase a Things We Love About You custom poster. With several styles to choose from, it's a fabulous gift for any milestone birthday, anniversary, retirement, or just because. And doing markets and stuff like that. So that takes up your weekends and right? And like you said, the whole markets are so much fun. But the whole reason you went into this business was so that you could have some more time for lifestyle and family and friends and
absolutely.
It'll get there. I mean, you're only a few years in.
Yeah, but we just keep getting busier and busier. There's ways that it has been less busy and ways that it's been more busy. Like I was saying earlier, we did cut back on markets, which we never thought we would. When we first started, markets were our bread and butter. We were always in markets every weekend, sometimes multiple. Sometimes we'd be in one Saturday and then on one Sunday, or like a full weekend market. And now we're taking a huge step back from those, and we're just being very, very picky about the markets that we pick and choose.
Well, and that's also a part of your brand too. Your brand is elevated to such a level that you don't want to be everywhere and anywhere. I would assume you're looking for markets that are going to complement, what you've built.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you deal with when the imposter syndrome feelings come at you? Do you have tips and tricks that you guys do? Is there a special mantra that you say to yourself? Is there a particular, Alex goes to the gym. I journal. What do you guys do?
God, I wish I did something. I feel like I haven't quite
Becca gets in bed and puts the covers over her head
and goes right
away.
I hide from it, under my. I think one of the when you said mantra, that said something to me, because every time I feel like we get decision fatigue mixed with imposter syndrome so often.
Yeah. And
I like what Jess said earlier, I don't know how people run a business alone, because everything we do is let's talk about responding to this email. What should we say? And that's a very micro example, but I do think every single decision we like to talk with each other on, because sometimes it's I don't want to make this decision. I'm too tired. I feel like I can't make this decision because the imposter syndrome's kicking in and I feel like I don't know how to answer this right. And so one of the things we said from the beginning was just literally, what is the worst thing that could possibly happen? Any decision you make, you're not going to die. You're not going to lose someone you love. The world's not going to explode. The worst thing that could happen is maybe you take a hit this month. Maybe you don't get into that market. Maybe you don't win that award. There's never that bad of a thing that could actually happen with this. And so I think that has at least helped me when we're talking about when that kind of kicks in. It's well, what's the worst thing that can really happen? You're going to be fine. No matter what happens.
I think for me, when imposter syndrome kicks in, I think we just lean on each other, to be honest. I think it is helpful. I think when I'm up, she's down, and when I'm down, she's up. And it just happens I think we balance each other out really well that way. And I think also because we deal with different aspects of the business, it never really lands at the same time. I think if I'm dealing with imposter syndrome, I think it works out that we can lean on each other a lot in those times. And again, I don't know how someone does this alone.
It's really nice, isn't it? It's really nice to have that friend, that wingman that you can just turn to, we do it, right?
I think we're also very similar, that when one's up, the other one is down, and it does help to play off of each other. And I think if you know the industry and you're both in it, it's a lot easier to help talk someone down or up or whatever they need to be, depending on what's happening. So I think that is really good. And because you're multifaceted, because you're B2B and B2C. So that's a different level of challenges, from, client relations to customer relations and everything in between. So,
and I think we are so similar in terms of our personality in a lot of ways, but we're also very different. I am a chronic people pleaser to the point.
Yeah, you're in good company.
Yeah.
And I'm mean.
And you are not.
I'm both.
Oh, that's nice. It's good to be able to. That's a good balance.
I'm a mean people pleaser.
You're a mean people pleaser. I don't know what I am. Still figuring it out. Oh, I'm a people pleaser also. But, it is really nice to have somebody beside you on that journey. I think I feel like we should have met as babies, Alex.
Well, yeah.
Right?
But we would in 10 years. So
Right, yeah.
I would have been a 10-year-old.
I would have been 10. Well, yeah, that wouldn't have been good.
Right.
Yeah. But, because we've only been friends for 4 years.
Really?
Since the pandemic, yeah.
Yeah. But feel like such a tie and close to one another. And we were at an event this weekend, and somebody said something about they brought their emotional support dog with them. And I'm like, I brought my emotional support Alex. Like, because whether it's at a networking event
Well,
or...
yeah, they made us move tables, and I felt like I was like
They
untethered.
separated you?
They separated us.
We were back to, and we still felt like
Oh
we were
no,
too far
I would not.
If someone tried to do that to us, I would be, the mean would come out. Put me back there.
Yeah,
It was
absolutely
very
not.
strange.
It was odd.
I mean, I was
did not
fine
like
with
it.
meeting other people, but I was like, I need an Alex
behind
next
you,
to
like,
me,
holding
right?
I know. I was like, okay, we'll switch tables, but we're still going to be at the same, in the same vicinity.
I know, it's strange.
No, that's too much. I
It was a
couldn't handle
lot.
that.
It was a lot.
We were supposed to meet new people, so
And we did.
begrudgingly.
Which was lovely.
Forcefully.
But we like to meet new people together.
Yes,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Was there a moment when you were like, okay, we really, we did it? We've reached what we want to be, and now we can grow from here. Was there ever any doubt as you were building that you would be able to grow it to what it is today? Or did you kind of
Yes.
always see that it would be this?
We had so much doubt. Well, we still both work other jobs, and when we started, we leaned on that a lot more.
Wait
You
a minute.
still
Wait a
work
minute.
other jobs?
We both have I freelance social media management just on the side, and Jess also has another.
Yeah, I stream video games on the internet.
Do you? Oh my goodness, my son
Do
would
you
be
really?
obsessed.
No, she's
Okay,
she's
we
killing it.
totally know all about your business
Yeah,
because
no.
that's what we do.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
We
yeah.
both do social media. But you what, Jess?
I don't know how much I want to talk about it.
I'm freaking out.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah, I'm a Twitch partner, and I do I do
are?
different variety games, and that's what I do when I'm not making candles.
Oh, cool. Is that also kind of an outlet for you?
It is,
Yeah.
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 I could
But
see that.
I would say we had a lot of doubt the whole time. We still I think would really hesitate to quit our other side jobs.
We keep them. It's like a security blanket for us.
Yeah.
I think we're at a point now where we don't 100% need them, but I think I always you just never know. If you asked me 3 years ago, 4 years ago, that we would be doing this, I wouldn't even know what to say. So to have something always in the back, it gives a sense of comfort just in case, because you never know.
I get that.
Something could
I
go
get it,
wrong.
but I'm blown away.
I just don't understand how the
The
time
time.
management must be incredible.
It's
We don't have any time.
or management.
You know what? It's not. Yeah.
It's really hard. I think this time of year, I think in the summer it's a lot easier for us because we don't work as much, but now is kind of this is our busiest month, and
But it's also
I'm
your
really
busiest month. If you're doing social media freelance, which we both do, we're gearing into a really busy month for your clients as well.
So I work with a real estate company.
Okay.
So their busy time is spring.
Oh, that's so
Ah,
smart.
That's smart.
Which is our least busy time.
Okay.
So that is, I don't think I could do it if it was a typical
Yeah.
client.
Okay.
really
That's so smart.
Yeah, it would be too much. But right now, this week, I'm really struggling with it. It's really difficult to manage both when it's, and Jess has been going to conferences and stuff too. So she's also so busy right now. And it's just, when it happens all at once, I think it's just really difficult to manage.
Yeah, and I guess so I can see that at this point you're scaling. So there's decisions to be made for, do you scale back on your own businesses? Do you hire people? Do you
Yeah, and we still haven't figured that out too. And I feel bad. I feel like we didn't really even answer the question. But I would say the pinch me moments where we felt like we made it would be getting our own space for sure. I think that was a big one.
I was so
Yes.
excited for you guys when that
was
happened.
Yeah,
surreal.
we
Yeah.
were so excited for
That was
us. I would say
surreal.
getting our space was one, but then at the same time, there was a lot of stress involved with are we going to be able to pay this rent,
Sure.
which we thought we could, but you just never know. Month to month, it's always going to be up and down. And so I would say we even had like recently another moment where we're like, oh my gosh, we made it. We are not struggling to make these payments, and we actually are running out of space, and we actually need more space. So when we were just a couple months ago, I would say February, when we moved in, we were like so excited to have the space, but also now there's an extra layer of stress where we've just signed a 2-year lease for somewhere that, you know, we never had any overhead before that point.
Right.
So that is in both ways like something very exciting, but also an added layer of stress,
scary
because
to grow.
there's now something that we have to be paying, and it's not a small amount of money. I mean, like we are living in not a cheap city.
It's a cool
and
space.
It's
yeah,
really
and it's a really
awesome.
cool space. We love
Yeah,
it.
you're in a beautiful space
Yeah,
right now.
I think it's a heritage. It's a heritage
It
building.
is a heritage
It's a heritage
building,
building,
yeah.
and it's been redone, and it's got
beautiful.
exposed brick on the inside.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
But yeah, like I think it was like considering taking on overhead before you're even paying yourself a full salary is just like we can't even afford to at that point pay ourselves. Like what are we
Right.
doing taking on rent? But like I think a huge support. My dad has been so incredible in terms of, he's like a consultant for us. It's what he's retired, but that's what he
Oh,
when
isn't that
dads say they're
nice?
retired and they're never actually
Yes.
retired.
Yeah.
And he kind of helps us as a consultant. So he will help us with our month-end reporting, our year-end reporting, like projections. Because like we've never run a business before. Neither of us have experience in that. And so he's able to kind of like, you know, he was a huge help in like determining if we could afford that in a couple months, or like if we do this and this and this and we grow by this percentage and all of this. And it's like we're looking at these reports he's pulled together and we're like, you think we can do that?
So I can 100% tell you as a parent that your parents are incredibly proud of you guys. They are incredibly proud of you. Are you guys, how do you guys feel? You've got to be proud of yourselves.
Yeah.
We are proud of ourselves.
Yeah.
I think it's
so hard
maybe
to
this
say
is
you're
also
proud of
more
yourself.
imposter syndrome coming in, where I'm just like, we're just a little guy.
Right? We're just a little guy.
Right.
Like, but are you, so you're probably proud of Becca, and Becca's proud of you.
That's
I
what
would say
think.
yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I think it's so difficult to like, I don't think you'll ever, at least for myself, I don't know how I can ever be proud of like there's always
Yeah.
something else that but when it's like looking at
Yeah.
you, I'm like, I'm so proud of her. But like when it's myself, I'm like, but I could have done this better and I could do this
Yeah.
better and I could do
Yeah.
more of this. Like, I think it's
That
so hard.
entrepreneur
It is-
mindset.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad we do it together, because then I can say like I'm proud of us. Like I'm
Yeah.
proud of our brand, because it's
Yeah.
not just me. And
Yeah. I'm so
Well,
proud
it's a
of what we've
huge
built.
accomplishment to be best friends in business, because you know what they always say, like, you know, never go into business with your friends or family or that type of thing. And it sounds like you have found a really great balance to be able to do that and still really maintain and strengthen your friendship. So how would you say you've done that? Like what do you put in place to separate some of those disagreements that might come up in business, or frustrations, or maybe you don't have any?
I would say, I think because we've been friends our whole lives, we have more of a sister bond than a friend bond. And it makes it easy to just be honest with each other and know we're not going anywhere. Versus like, I think I know I have friendships where I'm not always going to say exactly what I'm feeling or be 100% honest all the time. I'm kind of weighing the pros and cons of like, okay, if I have this difficult conversation with someone, is it going to make things better, or is it going to make things worse? And I think because we know that we are family, like we're not going anywhere. And there's just like, in a good way and a bad way, of sometimes I would say I'm more short with her than I would be with a normal friend. Probably have no filter. And sometimes I have to go back and apologize if I'm in a schmoopy mood or whatever. But also I think there's a lot of honesty, and I think we have really good communication because of that. And I think also where we have, I know I keep bringing it back to this, but we have different responsibilities and different things that we do. So I think that also helps. I think naturally it's been very good. And I think we're both very open with each other all the time, of saying like, if you are having a hard week or if you need something taken off your plate, like let me know, because we both love our brand and what we've built together so much that we never want it to get to a point where either of us is unhappy, because we can't do it without the other person at the end of the day. So we had this conversation the other day, just saying like, because we are getting to the point where we're working a lot and we're needing help, we're needing, things, and we need to be honest with each other all the time. If we need to take something off each other's plate, or if we need to hire someone, or if we need to, I think it's open and honest communication.
Yeah, because like literally earlier or last week, I guess, like the past 2 weeks have been really tough for me. I've definitely been on a down, and it's just been really hard. And it was one of those conversations where it's like, yes, when you're a business owner, you're going to work a million hours more than you ever would in a 9 to 5. But if it ever got to the point where, like, we don't want to do that forever. And if it ever got to the point where one of us was burnt out and we didn't want to do it anymore, it's kind of the end. Because it's like, we can't, the whole brand is us together. Like, we can't do it alone. We couldn't do it with somebody else. And so it's like, Jess is right, like keeping those like completely honest and open pathways of communication open, maybe to a point where it's like people would consider it too honest. But again, like, I think being friends, like sisters your entire life, you know, I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. I think, you know, that's the key, is that communication and feeling in a trusted, safe place with each other, which I think is a difficult thing to find. So that's awesome.
Serving up hot brews, refreshing cold drinks, lots of fresh baked goodies, and delicious lunch options. Visit the Mellow Mug in the heart of Larry Utech for dine-in, takeout, or drive-through service. Their spacious cafe offers a casual and inviting vibe that's perfect for everything from enjoying a good book, hanging with friends, or meeting a colleague. The Mellow Mug is your neighborhood spot for great coffee and delicious eats and sweets. What advice would you give other young individuals looking to start their own businesses?
I think they should just do it. I think the biggest thing is everyone's always just afraid to start something. Everyone's like afraid of climbing Cringe Mountain. Everyone's afraid of. Well, the worst thing is when you start something before you're successful, you're not successful.
Yeah.
And just there's no one that just starts and immediately. Well, I'm sure there is, but it's very rare to be, I think, an overnight success, like from nothing. And I think that the worst thing is just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then like, I think the main thing that I wish out of everything in my life is that I would have started everything that I wanted to do sooner.
100%. I remember the first time we like posted, we did like our first little outdoor photo shoot and on like a blanket in Jess's backyard, and we posted it on like our Instagram. And I remember feeling so excited, but so embarrassed about it. I was like, oh, what are people going to think? Like, this is so cringy that she's starting, like, they're starting a little candle business. Like, I think it is like Cringe Mountain. You get over it and just like start it sooner, because at the end of the day,
That is so
like,
brilliant, guys.
what is the worst that's going to happen? Oh, people think you're cringy. Okay.
I think the thing that holds everyone back is embarrassment.
Yeah.
Like, I think, and
Yeah,
I just
fear
think
of
something
judgment
that
for
you,
sure.
the older you get, the less it bothers you. And I think that's the hard.
You might be surprised.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, the older I get,
it's getting better for me.
For me, the older I get, the less
you?
it bothers. Every single day, I care less about being embarrassing, because I embarrass myself every day on the internet. I think that helps too. But
Yeah, it also helps if you have a teenager, because you're embarrassing all the time.
You're embarrassing them all the time,
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like
So
a lot
you're just
easier.
over it,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm just like,
But
whatever.
this whole concept of Cringe Mountain
love that.
is phenomenal.
I wish I made it up. I didn't.
I think
but-
it's
Really?
great
I've never heard
advice,
it.
though, too, because you're right. Everybody sucks at something when they first start.
Yeah.
And you have to get past that, like, feeling cringy about it to be successful. So I love that advice.
And it also, I think it's one of the imposter types, is natural.
Yeah,
Natural
yeah, the
genius.
Natural genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it lends itself to that too.
Yeah, it's true, because you're not going to just come out of the gate knowing how to do everything. Like, and it's scary to not know it all, and not to
and
not
you don't
be-
want
yeah.
people to think you're, like, everyone cares about what everyone thinks to a certain extent. And I think you're right. It does get easier as you get older. But particularly if you're being so public with your own personalities and your faces are the face of the brand, you have to kind of suspend disbelief, I guess.
You're doing it, girls. You're making it.
I do want, before we do this, though,
Okay.
I want to talk about your dog. Because I came and picked up an order once, and your dog was like the sweetest little thing. And he came up to me, and you guys were surprised. You probably don't remember this, because I know you get thousands of people picking up orders all the time. But you're like,
Thousands is a
he
stretch,
never
but
comes to
I'm glad you think
anybody,
that.
and it like made my day. I thought about that dog for like a week.
Oh my
So-
gosh.
It's a sweet
We
dog.
should have
Oh
brought
my
him.
goodness.
We should have brought him.
He's in the studio. We left him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's a little rat rascal. I'm happy to hear that you loved him, because
Oh my goodness, he
he's
was
not
the
always
best.
on his best behavior. So
He was like so friendly to me, and I think I was having a kind of a shitty day too,
Aw.
and it really like turned me around. So yeah,
there
I
is
love that
something
little
about when
dog.
an animal that doesn't like people likes you. It just, you feel very chosen.
Yeah, it
And-
was awesome.
And he definitely is very selective with the people that he
was the
likes.
cutest. I was like,
I
I came
chose
home and
you-
I was
I
like,
chose you too.
I want that dog.
Yeah, but I take him to work every day because I want him to be.
I know, that's the second time you've referred to me as a dog. I'm letting it
Oh my gosh! In the span of an hour.
She is very loyal. All right, let's move into
Oh, yeah. Speed round.
Speed round, where we
Oh, what is this?
pull
Oh.
5 questions.
We'll do 5 each, I guess.
I guess we will.
Why did that
you
make me
start.
sweat a little bit?
And
I'm like a
everybody's
little
so
nervous.
nervous about this. They're
Oh
not.
my God, what are these?
We'll pull 5 questions. You can answer. If you can answer in one word, great. If not, it takes
Okay,
more
we're
words.
yappers. One word is
It doesn't
ambitious.
have to be.
We'll
say
start with
that,
Becca. What's the one thing you couldn't live without?
but I feel like she knows.
Jess, what is the one thing Becca couldn't live without?
Dumplings.
That is fair.
Maybe
I
we
had
should
them
have
for
done that
dinner
that
and
way.
lunch
Actually,
yesterday.
I like that
Actually, we should
idea.
answer them
Let's
for each other.
do it.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
love that.
Jess, what's Becca's favorite color?
I actually don't think I know that. Sage green.
No.
No. Blue.
I don't think that matters.
Doesn't know my favorite color.
doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
that.
Jess, if Becca could live in any city, where would it be?
I think it would be here or New York.
Yes.
But she loves it here. I would say here, but I would say New York.
If it was
if
any
it was
other
if it
one.
was like if I had to pick somewhere that's not here, New York.
Correct.
It's a great city, too.
If Becca was stranded on a desert island, what 3 items do you think she'd want with her?
That's a tough one.
That is hard.
I don't know. Aquaphor.
Yes. That's what I couldn't live without.
Yeah, Aquaphor. Bring it back.
On my aquaphor.
That
yeah.
will- yeah, I want to retract my previous answer. Okay.
Yes, correct.
Aquaphor.
Aquaphor and Aquaphor.
Claw clip.
Yes.
These are all going to be like beauty related.
I mean, Aquaphor on a deserted island is very
claw
smart.
clip,
Right?
and maybe your overnight contacts.
Yeah.
You're blind.
right?
I am
so she
blind.
could see. What's her favorite animal?
Oh, I should know that. Frog. No.
Oh, it's up there for sure.
Frog.
That's like top 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say cat. Another
Yeah.
one.
Oh.
And
I was thinking like I was thinking animal.
Exotic animal.
I wasn't.
A
Yeah.
frog.
A frog.
I
is
do
very
love frogs.
exotic.
A
Yeah.
frog is like
Okay.
our friendship animal.
That was fun.
Yeah,
All
that
right,
is
now-
fun.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my
Becca
god.
is
Oh
answering
yeah.
for
Okay. I was
Jess
gonna
now.
say.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't.
You're not getting off that easy.
No.
Isn't that crazy?
Wait,
Such a
okay.
deep friendship,
put
and
your
it was
homework?
like, you don't even know my favorite color.
I don't know your favorite
That's
color.
not what makes a
I wonder if you'd
friendship.
know mine.
Right.
Anyway, okay. Becca, what is the best gift that Jess has ever received?
Oh, ever received? Ooh, I think it was for me.
Wow.
It was her birthday a couple years ago, and did you guys ever play Animal Crossing?
Yes.
Oh my God! So remember the gifts that float, and you have to slingshot them down. We never get each other gifts. Like it's just like not
Yeah.
we're just
Well, actually,
past
we get
that
each
point.
other gifts all the time. We don't get each other gifts for birthdays
Yeah.
or holidays. So if I see something that reminds me of her, I'm gonna get it for her. If she sees something that reminds me of,
Yeah.
But I'm like that. Yeah. So we get each other gifts all the time. But I would say they're not. Yeah.
Yeah, so I I found a couple things throughout the year that I knew she would like. So I put them in a little white box. I tied the red bow around it and then stuck a balloon onto it so it looked like an Animal Crossing floating gift. And then I like put it on her. She has like this hedge in front of her house, like right in front of her window. So I put it on there, and that wasn't the best gift. I think the best gift was the security cam footage of
her
me
doing
putting it there.
It was so funny.
It was me walking up like this, like a little T-Rex, and she said that it made her day. So I think it was
It was
that.
so
the
cute. I still
beautiful-
have that.
That's awesome.
The box.
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that actually was the best gift you've ever received.
It was
but
definitely up there.
definitely up there.
What chore does Jess absolutely despise doing?
Literally every single one. Washing her dishes. Every single one. I love you so much, but it's bad.
Yeah. Anything related to cleaning.
Anything related to cleaning.
Yeah, fair. I'm the same. What is Jess's favorite type of food?
I would also say dumplings.
Oh, you guys both like dumplings.
Yeah.
Big
Ooh,
dumpling
is that
girls.
4?
Yeah.
Yeah, one more.
Okay. Last one. Coffee or tea for Jess?
Tea, but she's recently getting back into coffee.
Awesome.
Well, it was so lovely
Yeah, it
to
was so
spend
great.
some time with you guys.
Thank you so
Just it's nice to talk to another duo.
Yeah,
that's
you're our
doing
first
it.
duo
Yeah.
guest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I love
But just that
that
you're doing it as friends and running your business as friends and stuff like that. It's kind of nice.
Yeah,
It's
but
incredibly inspiring, but
it
it
is.
also feels a lot like what we're doing.
Well, you're also just
So-
very cool too, and
No, you're
clearly
so
have an
cool. No, you guys
understanding
are
of
pretty cool.
business. So it's really fun to talk about your story, but also you're just very personable. So
Yeah.
Cute.
So thank you for
We had a
coming
great time.
and welcome
this
to the
was so
sisterhood
fun.
of the Imposter Sisterhood. Yeah,
Fun. Thank you so much for having
That
us.
was awesome.
guys.
that was fun.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Imposter Sisters. Please remember, we're not doctors or mental health experts. If you're looking for mental health guidance, please see our show notes for local resources. Until next time, keep your head high, and we will see you next Tuesday.